أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهداه إلى يوم الدين فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي لا تؤاخذني مما يقولون واغفر لي ما لا يعلمون واجعلني خيرا مما يظنون أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to the House of Dua, the channel from which you learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, about His creation, about His message, about His messenger, and of course, about His chosen religion of Al-Islam. The channel from which you learn how to succeed in the life we live and how to return back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for greater success on the day of accountability. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, welcome to day number 8 of the month of Dhul Hijjah. The month of Dhul Hijjah is the 12th month of the Islamic calendar. The month of Dhul Hijjah is the month of the Hajj, and millions of people all over the world have assembled in the vicinity of the Kaaba to perform the Umrah and the Hajj. Tomorrow is calculated to be the day of Arafah, the night of Dhul Hijjah. I hope you are ready. That's a very, very important day. For those of us who will not be in the Hajj this year, it's important for us to observe the day of Arafah as a day of fast, because the reward for it is forgiveness of sins of the year that is past and the year that is coming. That's an enormous opportunity, my dear brothers and dear sisters. Today we are coming to you with another unique presentation. The case of Sulayman alayhi salam, and the dua that Sulayman alayhi salam made, granted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are doing this because we want to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by reminding ourselves of how to be better Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent revelations down to mankind. In this Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابُ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This is a book without doubt. It's a guidance to the entire mankind. In this book, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us reminders of what happened in the past before us, especially what happened to the Anbiya of Allah, the prophets and messengers sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the reason is for all of us to learn lessons so that we don't make the mistakes of those who came before us, and to follow the examples of the goodness that those who came before us, the good people among them, the good that they did, so that we'll follow it, so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be pleased with us. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, Prophet Sulayman alayhi salam was a unique prophet. Every prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was given one special favor or the other. That of Sulayman was enormous. He was born a prince. His father was a king, Dawood alayhi salam, also known as David. And by the way, Sulayman alayhi salam in the Bible is also known as Solomon. His father Dawood was a king, and so Sulayman was born a prince. And he rose from being a prince to being a king as well as a prophet. That's a high level of nobility. But the lesson we learn in his mission is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just as he would consider people who are of low calling in life, consider them to be prophets and elevate them, he could also extend such favor to those who are rich, who have noble upbringing, provided they were of good character, provided they humble themselves before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. That's what we are learning from here. The mercy of Allah is not restricted to those who are average in life or those who are below the poverty line. It is also meant for those who are of high nobility in the society, provided there is this element of purity of heart and humility towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what we learn about Sulayman alayhi salam. And so when his father Dawood alayhi salam passed away, he inherited the throne of his father. Not material inheritance as we would think nowadays, because prophets have no property to be inherited. But these are spiritual inheritance. When we say Sulayman alayhi salam inherited his father, it means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used that lineage to continue his prophethood. Sulayman was endowed with the abilities to control the winds, to control the jinns, the invisible objects known as ghosts, if you like, but they are known as jinns. Sulayman had the power to control them. And Sulayman also had the power to speak to the ants and to control the other lower elements in the creation. That was an enormous power. In Surah Naml, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَوَارِثَ سُلَيْمَانُ دَاوُودَ فَقَالَ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ عُلِّمْنَا مَنطِقَ الطَّيْرِ وَأُوتِينَا مِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ إِنَّ هَذَا لَهُوَ الْفَضْلُ الْمُبِينُ. He told his people when it became his turn to preside over the rulership of his people, he told them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has favored me and my parents by granting us enormous possessions and the ability to speak to the gods. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, Jesus Christ alayhi salam was endowed with enormous ability to manifest miracles. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was endowed with the ability to interpret dreams. Musa alayhi salam was endowed with the ability to fight against the magicians of Pharaoh and also to speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though he didn't see Allah face to face. Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam was given the crown of it all by given the opportunity to deliver the Quran to the entire mankind. The Quran was his miracle, the inimitable Quran, the final testament sent to mankind by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sulayman was unique. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلِسُلَيْمَانَ رِيحًا غُدُوهَا شَهْرٌ وَرَوَاؤُهَا شَهْرٌ وَأَرْسَلْنَا لَهُ عَيْنَ الْقِطْرِ وَمِنَ الْجِنِّ مَن يَعْمَلُ بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِ. For Sulayman, we granted the ability to use the wind to travel. Sulayman will use the wind to travel a journey from morning till midday, a journey that ordinary people will travel in 1 month. And from midday to evening, Sulayman will travel a journey that other people will travel in 1 month. So, 1 day's journey of Sulayman was equivalent to 2 months' journey of regular people. Whether that journey is meant to be by aeroplane or not, is not the issue. But that was the power that Sulayman had, an advantage he had over other people. My dear brothers and dear sisters, Sulayman was also endowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with enormous wisdom, ability to sift the wrong from the right and to come to the right judgment. We saw how he judged between those who were quarreling over their farm produce. We also saw his judgment between 2 ladies who were fighting over the ownership of a child. The real mother of the child claimed that it was her child. The other one claimed that it was her child. They brought the matter to Sulayman alayhi salam. What did he do? He asked both of them, and they all claimed to be the mother of the child. So he decided to do something amazing. He called for a knife or a saw and commanded that the baby be split into 2, 1 half to each woman, the other half to the other woman. The other mother, who was claiming to be the mother of the baby, said, yes, I agree with the decision. We'd rather split the baby and each person goes away with half part of it. But the true mother of the baby, who had the emotional sympathy of that baby, who had the pain, who bore the pains of birth of that baby, told Sulayman alayhi salam, instead of me to allow this baby to be killed, I'd rather let the other woman have it so that the baby will survive. Then Sulayman concluded that that was the true mother of the baby. The mother who showed sympathy towards the baby was the true mother of the baby. That piece of judgment made by Sulayman today is referred to as the wisdom of Sulayman or the wisdom of Solomon. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, matters relating to Sulayman and his greatness can be found in several parts of the Quran, especially Surah Naml, which is chapter 27 of the Holy Quran, and Surah Sad, which is chapter 38 of the Holy Quran. You will also find this matter mentioned in Surah Sabah, which is chapter 34 of the Holy Quran. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, I encourage you to check them out. Sulayman alayhi salam demonstrated his humility in several ways. And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala named him Ni'im al-Abd, an excellent slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Consider the background of Sulayman, a prince, a king, a prophet, and he humbled himself. Listen to how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described his attitude towards his nobility. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا دَاوُدَ وَسُلَيْمَانَ عِلْمًا قَالَ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي فَضَّلَنَا عَلَىٰ كَثِيرٍ مِّنْ عِبَادِهِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Dawood or David alayhi salam and his son Sulayman or Solomon alayhi salam, we granted them enormous favor. But both of them concluded by humbling themselves and thanking Allah. When many of us come into possessions of little money, it goes into our head and we become arrogant and we forget about the worship of Allah. That was not the case of Sulayman. وَوَارِثَ سُلَيْمَانُ دَاوُودَ وَقَالَ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسُ عُلِّمْنَا مَنطِقَ الطَّيْرِ وَأُوتِينَا مِن كُلِّ شَيْءٍ إِنَّ هَٰذَا لَهُوَ الْفَضْلُ الْمُبِينُ. When Suleiman became the leader of his people and saw the enormous opportunity that awaited him, he told his people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been so kind to us by giving us enormous possession and also giving us the ability to speak to the birds. Surely, this is the favor of Allah. Again, he didn't get into his head. He didn't claim it, that it was by his power and that he was better than anybody else. No, he didn't do that. Then, Suleiman was traveling on a journey. وَأُشِرَ لِسُلَيْمَانَ جُنُودُهُ مِنَ الْجِنِّ وَالْإِنسِ وَالطَّيْرِ فَهُمْ يُوزَعُونَ حَتَّى إِذَا أَتَوْا عَلَىٰ وَادِ النَّمْلِ قَالَتِ نَمْلَةٌ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّمْلُ ادْخُلُوا مَسَاكِنَكُمْ لَا يَأْتِمَنَّكُمْ سُلَيْمَانُ وَجُنُودُهُ وَهُمْ لَا يَشْعُرُونَ فَتَبَسَّمَ ضَاحِكًا مِنْ قَوْلِهَا وَقَالَ رَبِّ أوزعني أن أشكر نعمتك التي أنعمت علي وعلى والدي وأن أعمل صالحا ترضاه وأدخلني برحمتك في عبادك الصالحين. So Suleiman was traveling with his horses, with his jinns, with his birds, and other lower elements of creation. Himself and his troops were on a journey. And when the ant was outside the ant hill with his babies trying to take fresh air, they had Suleiman and his horses coming. Kata, 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 kata. The ant called on his children. Go into your habitation, for Suleiman and his troops are coming. They might trample on you unknowingly because you are very little. That's how a parent should be apprehensive and proactive about the safety of his or her children. That's what we learn from there. So, but once Suleiman had this communication from the mother ant, because he was able to speak to the ants, what did he do? He smiled. He smiled. Then he surrendered to Allah. And attribute this to the favor of Allah. He didn't say it was by his power. No. Instead, he immediately prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the most famous prayers in the Quran. Oh Allah, empower me to thank you all the time, to worship you, to submit to you. Empower me to thank you for what you have done to me and what you have done for my parents. Many of us don't want to pray for our parents. We don't want to even see them, ask them through that. But that's not what we learn from Suleiman alayhi salam. and empower me to do that which will please you all the time. And by your mercy, Ya Allah, join me among those who are righteous. Just imagine that level of humility from Suleiman. Yes, Suleiman alayhi salam, unlike many of us who are reluctant, who are scared to put our resources to help the cause of Allah, Suleiman put his throne online for the sake of Allah. He was informed that another queen, known as Queen of Sheba, Bilqis, was ruling over another community, and they were worshipping the sun instead of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was what pissed off Suleiman alayhi salam. And he wrote a letter to the queen. When the letter got there, the queen told her people, Ya ayyuhan malo, inni ulqiya ilayya kitabun karim, innahu min Suleiman, wa innahu bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allah ta'ulu alayya wa atuni muslimin. The king alayhi salam told her people, have just gotten the message, a beautiful letter, and it's from Suleiman. And the letter begins, in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. And Suleiman is telling me and my people to come over to him and join him in worshiping Allah. Otherwise, something will happen. But what happened thereafter is a long story. At the end of it all, the lady decided to please Suleiman by giving him enormous gifts. Falamaja Suleiman ko atumidunani bimali fama atani Allahu khairun mimma ataakum banantum biadiyatikum tafrahun. Amazing. The lady packaged a gift of enormous proportion to Suleiman to please him so that Suleiman will not worry her over her idol worshiping. But when the message got to Suleiman, Suleiman smiled and made one of the most monumental statements in the Quran and showed the best example that our leaders need to copy. Suleiman told the visitors, take the property back to her. What Allah has given to me is better than what he has given to her and her people. I'm not after materialism. I'm after the worship of one God. She will either come to me and surrender to Allah, or I will send my forces after her. When the lady saw that reply, she knew that it was up. And so she visited Suleiman. Finally, she accepted Islam. That's how Suleiman used Bilqis alayhi salam to come into Islam. When Bilqis alayhi salam saw the truth, she declared, Rabbi, inni zalamtu nafsi wa aslamtu ma'a Suleiman lillahi rabbil alamin. Oh Allah, I have wronged myself by previously worshipping idols and worshipping the sun. Now I surrender to you by joining Suleiman to worship you. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, the life of Suleiman is full of lessons that all of us can learn. But nobody's above mistake in life. When you make mistake, what do? You return back to Allah. You ask for forgiveness, and Allah will welcome you back. We learned that again from Suleiman alayhi salam. It was time for Salatul Asr in his time. Then Suleiman alayhi salam, his wealth of horses and so on were displayed in front of him, and he was playing with the horses. He was enjoying them. It was time for Salah. They called him, let us go and pray. He told them, he told his people, I love these fine things in front of me more than the remembrance of Allah. You guys can go ahead and pray. I'll join you later. That was the mistake Suleiman made. As a result of which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you know what? No one is above the law. He took the throne away from him temporarily so that he will appreciate the favor Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had done to him. And Suleiman realized that he has lost his power and throne, and that he has stood against Allah, and that he has broken his relationship with Allah. What did he do? He returned to Allah immediately. Allah Rabbi Fele Wahabule Molokan Layan Begile Ahadimi Badi Enaka Tanwaha. Told Allah, forgive me and return my throne to me. Grant it back to me. I need a throne that nobody after me will ever inherit. Till today, all those who call themselves queens and obas and so on and so forth into this world, their power is not comparable to that of Suleiman. Their seats of government are not comparable to what Suleiman enjoyed. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, we learn several lessons of Suleiman. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will treat us equally, rich and poor. There's no distinction. He also made some Anbiya of Allah who were rich, prophets and messengers, just as he did to those who were not rich, just as he did to those who were not even expected to be rich. Imagine Muhammad sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. We also learn from the story of Sulayman that when you humble yourself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always forgive you even if you make mistake. And we know from the life of Sulayman that when you invest in Allah, you will never be disappointed. So those of you who are scared to invest in Allah, please turn your heart to helping the cause of Islam. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take shaitan away from our lives. Take Allah as far away from shaitan. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanaka Allahumma bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Alhamdulillah.